Today we have a show for you. Again, we're going to cover 2 of our food commandments, and then from there we're just going to touch on what you can do for your confidence, or potentially, if you are lacking confidence, a different way to approach it. So Dave, what are we looking at for today on food commandments?
One thing that has just been a sticking point for me, because the whole intermittent fasting is the rage. Yes. And what's your take?
Actually, fasting is a good thing, but there's a time and a place to fast. A lot of times people fast incorrectly or view it differently. Additionally, fasting has different benefits at different times of the year. Whenever we're looking at seasons, we also look at nature. We look at times when there's going to be less resources. Realistically, there's one time of the year when there's lower resources. When you think of that, what time of the year is that?
I would assume it'd be like winter time.
Well, not so much winter, because winter you have food stored up. It's put away. Now, if you didn't plan correctly, you're not going to have resources in winter. Otherwise, you're going to be fasting more along the lines at the end of winter, early spring before foods come up. And that so happens to coincide with a lot of different type of religious fastings.
Right.
And other times when you didn't have a lot of food because there just wasn't a lot of food left. So they tied it into fasting times. And so when you look at us physiologically, we also go through 2 different shifts with our stomach and digestion and hormonally. And one happens to be in spring and one happens to be in fall. So my recommendation would be is if you're going to fast, do it in springtime so that you're going along with the normal circadian rhythm or the rhythm that nature follows. You can even look at animals. They're typically scrounging for food that time of year too. We're just going along with the normal calendar. Even if you live in a warmer climate where you do have a little more resources, spring would be the time that you naturally would do that, whether if you're in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. But the southern hemisphere, you've got that flip-flop when it comes to the weather. So then you'd be doing it accordingly. Otherwise, here in North America, we're looking at how to properly fast. Now, fasting can be done throughout the year. You really can. But you also want to make sure that you're doing it where it's not going to hurt you. So that means what? What does that mean? What do you think?
I have no idea.
Well, think about activity. Do you really, really want to be doing a ton of working out if you're fasting? If you've never fasted before, and say you're going to do a water fast, which is a fantastic fast, but you can also do a raw milk fast. You can do other types of fasting. As people say, well, how is milk a fast? It actually is, because it's causing your body to go through a situation. And that's where maybe some of the overlapping information is conflicting, because if you're doing water, there's quote no calories. If you're doing milk, there are calories. A lot of the fastings and a lot of the other types of cleansings still do use some calories. And you do that because you don't want to starve the brain. If you're going to be putting something into the body, you want to spark metabolism, so you're going to burn more calories. And the big thing is, if your activity is too much and you're fasting, you might just pass out. That's never good. Plus, a lot of times, if you're in North America, our culture doesn't quite understand fasting, where other cultures, you're going to take a month off. You're going to take a few weeks off. And not only are you going to be decreasing the amount of food that's going into your body, but you're also going to be looking at how can you help your body. You might be doing massage. You may be doing other type of spiritual work. So a fast, we always want to view it in North America as a way to purge the body. And I really like that whole approach, though, where you're looking at it physically, psychologically, spiritually, so that you're going to get more benefit out of your body. Now, if you're going to fast in a sense of like, well, I just don't want to eat and I still want to, cleanse my body, stop eating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yep. And don't eat again. And some people say, well, yeah, and then I'll make it to noon the next day. Seriously, you're screwing around with physiology you don't understand. If you're going to do that, you could actually slow your metabolism down, make your body go into freak out mode where it believes it's starving, and it won't liberate anything except burn lean body mass. So now you're doing the same thing as those Ozempic and all those drugs that decrease your lean body mass, and you're making yourself weaker. You're going to decrease your metabolism, and you're not going to burn calories. So if you're going to stop eating at 6 o'clock and not have anything when you wake up in the morning, think again. When you wake up in the morning, a tablespoon of honey is a good way to break that. And it makes your metabolism spark. It gets your stomach working, because your stomach, its function is the primary way to increase your metabolism. So if it's ready to eat, but doesn't get to eat, it then will start to look for things to eat. And hopefully it's going to go for your fat. But fat is one of those things where it doesn't want to go to something unless it really has to. And fat is one of those where people believe that they're going to start to use fat. You're not going to use fat. First, you're going to go after your muscle. Muscle is the easiest thing for your body to go after when you fast. So when you start in the morning with having some type of sugar, say a honey, which is really good. Of course, get a raw honey, get a local honey. It'll help you metabolically. Otherwise, go for like a Manuka honey, something that has other health benefits. You really don't want to starve the body, because it can really backfire on you.
So you don't want to pound some cereal right away in the morning.
Well, you never want to pound any cereal. Cereal, for the most part, is garbage. You know
exactly.
that, Dave. Exactly. But, well, it's funny, though. If
people don't know this.
Right. If you grew up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they promoted cereal to you. They don't promote it quite as much as they used to, but they still do. I guess because I don't watch television, and even a lot of online streaming networks, I don't watch it where they do have advertising. It makes a big difference, because they are still promoting to children, and they're promoting a lot of the sugar. You know, the last administration had put Fruit Loops right up on there. And of course, I'm not going to ever endorse a sugar cereal.
Right.
They started to conflict that pyramid, which is ridiculous to begin with when it comes to like, oh, I'm going to describe how you should eat, and it should look like a pyramid. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So when it comes to fasting, understand that a fast does not mean that you're going to be starving your body. A fast means that you want to look at your body to cleanse it out. Say, for example, as if you've got a boat or a car, you want to clean the fuel injector out. You're going to put in what?
A carb cleaner.
Yeah, a cleaner. You're going to be putting a cleaner in. That goes the same for the human body. As you want to, if you're going to be fasting, you want to clean it out so that it can process or metabolize faster, better, and more efficiently. But we don't really view the body that way. We're like, okay, I'm just going to starve it. How does starving to clean anything out? You have to help it. You have to encourage it. And then the body itself will use its tools that it has, because when it fixes itself, when it heals itself, it uses the same enzymes you digest with. Well, that's all fine and dandy. But if you are going to fast, you probably want to be adding things to it, such as enzymes, such as other type of nutrients, to allow the body to use its own, I guess you'd say, ingredients to clean itself out internally, which it does every single day. But now you supercharge it if you're going to fast to help your metabolism get better, to help your body be healthier.
So there's a lot of conflicting things out there about fasting when you're going off your fast. And what do? Do you go for the proteins? Do you go for, like you say, your honey and maybe some fruit?
But again, you're talking about meals. You're talking about a food. So ideally,
let's say a small meal.
Well, again, when you're fasting in the morning, when you wake up, the reason why you'd go for something like a honey is that it quickly metabolizes.
Okay.
It doesn't cause a massive insulin spike, say, as a tablespoon of sugar.
Sure.
And if you're going to go for proteins have to assimilate, and they take a longer time to digest. You're looking, for a little spark of metabolism, you're looking for a small amount of simpler carbohydrate and not a complex carbohydrate. A lot of the complex carbohydrates come with other nutrients, which again delay metabolism and slow metabolism down. Are you having fun over there? So today's guest is Eddie, a German short hair pointer who is sleeping and snoring over here. So if you hear any of that, we apologize. When you're looking at starting your first meal, you want to ease into it so you can have some type of protein as your first meal. Again, it's not a lot. You're just looking at something to get you going. After eating that, wait an hour or two, and then you can have a little bit more food. Otherwise, the system itself does get bogged down. So what else? What else we got here?
This one is going to be kind of a long one. Thou shalt not consume artificial sweeteners.
The artificial sweeteners are all neurotoxins. They're all poisons. Don't eat them. So do we have another food commandment today? So people, you get 3 of them today.
Did we ever talk about thou shalt consume food that tastes good?
I think that one kind of goes without saying, but it is true. If you're going to eat, why don't you eat something that actually tastes good? That does not mean it should come out of a bag, a box, or anything like that. What it means for everybody is eat something that is nutritious. Wow, speech impediment. That is nutritious and does taste good to you. So that could be anything and everything. Whenever you're looking, though, at foods, the best foods are the ones that you make for yourself. However, with that caveat, I have to say that for me, and for my family, we really enjoy going out for ethnic foods that we don't prepare ourselves. So that would include Pakistani food, Indian food, sushi. We're not really great at making rolls or anything like that. When it comes down to anything that we do not know the ingredients for, that is definitely a food I want to go to. Now, sadly, you can't always find a restaurant that has the best ingredients. Well, my best advice for that is skip it until you do, because otherwise poisoning yourself once a month or once every 3 months, it's kind of like counterproductive to having a healthy life and to eating something that tastes good to you. Now, for some folks, if they say, well, I really like to eat X, Y, and Z, but it's no good for you, it's time to look into the mirror and in my eyes, look into the mirror and say, it might taste good, but why does it taste good? Does it taste good because it has a bunch of junk in it? Right now we're trying to pull out food dyes or trying to pull out flavor enhancers. So does it really taste good? Does that deep fried chicken, because believe me, I love to eat deep fried chicken, but what's it fried in? Is it fried in tallow, fat? What's it fried in? Soybean oil? There's a big difference. If I'm going to have fried chicken, which is one of my, I guess you'd say, foods I like to have, but I don't always have, it better be pan fried or just deep fried in tallow or something really good and fatty that's going to make it crisp and I want to have it. Since we don't eat that on a regular basis, you still might have some gastrointestinal distress, but it's worth it.
Oh, this brings up another point.
And what's that?
Since we're talking about cooking your own food, let's talk about the pans you're cooking in.
Whenever we look at pans, I hate to say it, but science today, if it's nonstick, it should go into one depository, which is your garbage can. When we start dealing with metal, whatever you cook your food in, most likely will transfer something from it into your food. So traditionally, we've had porcelain. So people have cooked with porcelain. So you do even have cast iron that is coated with porcelain. That's not going to hurt you. Just watch out which country your porcelain's coming from, your bakeware. We have a lot of bakeware and different cooking pots and pans that come from France. Good stuff, I tell you. There is some American pots and pans that are porcelain made that are very high quality, and they do cost a lot, but they will last longer than you.
Exactly.
Yes. Then you also have cast iron, and cast iron does put metal or iron into your food. So
sure.
it can be beneficial. You also have to know what not to cook in it, such as foods that have a lot of acid, because your food, Eddie, would you please stop snoring and making noises? I tell you, I'm not going to edit this out at all. Anyway, an acidic food such as tomato sauce in a cast iron pan will not taste good. It's going to give it a metal flavor. It will not be good. So know what you're using your cast iron for. Typically, that's your deep frying.
Okay.
That's that. And now you have stainless steel. I use a lot of stainless steel. It's neutral. The brand that I love, of course, is All Clad. That's everything I have here when it comes to stainless steel. Fantastic cookware, bakeware, everything. It's very neutral. It fries well. You can cook it super high heat. It's also fantastic for sauteing. And no, they are not a sponsor. If you want to be, just let us know. We'll give you a plug there, here and there, and you just got one anyway. And then there's also the utensils you use. Now, there's been a lot of info out there about the black stuff. It looks like a nylon or whatever. And, the study was very, very flawed. you're dealing with parts per million. So the numbers that they did, their math was off by a lot. So even though it's like, hey, it's toxic, this and that, it's very, very, very fractional. With that said, though, I prefer stainless steel again and wood. So you have those two. It's pretty much covered.
What about the silicone ones?
Well, I'm not a fan of the silicone. I don't trust it. I really don't, because when you deal with it, it's silicone. It's synthetic. It's something. Right. Whenever we get into synthetics, it's no different than the polypropylene or some of the other types of things that you don't really know. And there's a lot of bakeware out there, and the stuff works great because it doesn't stick. But when it comes to plastics, there's always some type of give and take when you're dealing with it. There's just not enough data out there. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to find out, oh yeah, that silicone stuff that you loved was poisonous, or it gave estrogens or something. And that's a big thing for that. So I'd pass on it.
Okay. So we'll pass.
Well, pass. And I will admit, we use some of it. We use it for different baking. But again, I don't want to use it. I prefer to use stainless steel. I'd prefer to use something else. There's nothing out there. Now, with that said, do you remember, what was that? That it was like a amber color. It might have been Pyrex or something like that, where it was based off the space shuttle. It was a glass, shatterproof glass.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, my parents, this is years ago, they had that stuff. Of course, all of them ended up breaking, because when they're thrown across the room, they don't stay together. But it's amazing because everything burned in them. But it was an alternative, and it was glass. And as far as I know, it was neutral and did not cause any problems. So if you still see that around, that could be a solution, because I haven't seen anything negative about it. But again, I could be wrong. So that's what you get, folks.
Okay.
Good. So
the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is when I do the shopping in the house.
Okay.
I do the cooking.
Okay.
And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is when I look at ingredients on a lot of packages, starting to see, I don't know, folic acid is everywhere. Well,
folic acid got popular when it came down to women who are pregnant.
Yes.
And it was put into a lot of supplements. The thing about it is almost nobody in the population of the world can digest it or utilize it. It does not prevent neural tube defects. You need to have folate, and that's where we're finding out that the vast majority of the people of the world have a methylation issue, and so you'd want a methylated folate or methylfolate. If a product has it in it, I would pass on that.
Okay.
Almost everything
because it's everywhere.
Anything that's fortified, I would pass on, because most of that comes from the herbicide or the metal industry. So what you're getting is something that is considered a biohazard until it's put into a food product.
Terrific.
And most people can't even digest anything anyway. Again, if it's fortified, if you're getting good nutritional food to be good nutritious food to start with, you don't need anything fortified. So get it local, get it organic, get it biodynamic, and trust it. The more and more, I guess you'd say I recommend people food, the less I want to recommend supplements. And believe me, I take my fair share of supplements, and more of the focus is towards whole supplements, where it's made from foods, it's made from organs, it's made from meat. None are made from insects, just to let you know. None are made from bugs. And just like our ancestors, if they had issues, they just ate organs, more and more organs. Right. You had bad eyes, you ate eyeballs. Bad brain, you ate brain. You had a heart issue, you ate hearts. And Hippocrates, he used to say, like cures like. So you got a bad heart, you eat heart. So when it comes down to folic acid, man, I tell you, that's just a waste product.
Another one.
It is. So I would pass on that one.
Okay.
So, and this is actually going to lead into the topic of the day, which is confidence. Be confident in the foods you buy. And when it comes down to your life, confidence is something that you typically are not born with. It's taught to you, you learn it. So when you're looking at a mother and father, that's the importance of having a mom and a dad in the house. You look at societies and you look at cultures. Culturally, I don't care what color you are. If you got a mom and a dad, you're going to have a stronger family unit, and you're going to have healthier, more confident children. And they're going to have more respect for life. They're going to have more respect for their home. They're going to have more respect for their neighbor. They're going to have more respect for their neighborhood. You're going to have less pollution. You're going to have less littering. You know, it's crazy. The other day I was in a bad section of town. Okay. I don't know why socioeconomics has to go along with this, but they stop at the fast food restaurant and they believe that the street is their garbage can. They roll down the window and they toss it right out. And to me, that teaching, that lack of respect comes from not having a strong household.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, it's an easy thing to do, and they've been trying to teach us this since the Crying Indian.
Oh, yes.
Not supposed to pollute.
Yeah.
Not supposed to litter.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy thing. Just find a trash can.
Well, and that comes back to, are you respectful for yourself?
Right.
Do you see your world around you as a trash can? The world around us is not a trash can unless you make it a trash can. Again, it comes back to the family unit. If you don't have parents who are teaching you how to be a good woman, a good man, how to be respectful for everybody else, you can't respect anything else around you. Now, with confidence, you look at, say, an athlete. Athletes, you have some people who are more natural than others. It's going to happen no matter what. You always have somebody who's better than you. I don't care who you are. Even the best in the world, you're only going to be the best in the world, and you're probably an anomaly. If you look at anybody, Michael Jordan, when, you know, that guy worked his tail off, you know, Larry Bird, and, you know, of course, those are two basketball players. But if you looked at anybody else going on, they put the time in. I love cycling. So you got Tadej Pogačar right now. The guy's fantastic, but he puts the time in, but he also loves the sport. He respects the sport. With that, you look at the people of the past. You look at what they've done, and then you look at also your family. When you have strong personalities, you'll hear people say, he is like this, or she is like her mom, or somebody like that. So you're always looking for mentors. And with confidence, that's potentially a teacher. Now, today, I'm so glad that we homeschool our children, because the public school system, in my mind, is where the kids have learned not to have confidence. They've learned to be part of a socialistic, fascist, technocratic society because there's no confidence to be taught to them. You got to be respectful. Everybody gets an award. Nobody works hard. Confidence comes from doing. Confidence doesn't come from looking at a screen. Confidence comes from experience. I don't know, what do you think about that, Dave?
We got to accept the fact there are going to be winners and there are going to be losers.
All the time. You don't have to like it.
No.
There's always going to be a winner or loser.
Always.
And it's funny because we talk about in our society, like we're supposed to have this society that is so nice to everybody. And everybody should be the same. Well, I'm sorry, but that's called socialism or communism. In capitalism, it's no different than a sports team. You hire according to ability.
Exactly.
Okay. And in the past, yeah, there was racism that prevented different people of ethnic origin to be in different sports. That has been gone forever. And it's not about racial acceptance and tolerance. No, it's how life is. You pick the person who's for your team according to ability. And that is how life should be. So companies that do like these DEI hires and all that, that is absolutely ridiculous unless you want to have mediocrity and you want to have a company that is going to fail. Giving a person a break is different than DEI. If a person comes from, say, a neighborhood that doesn't have anything, if they have natural ability that can be nurtured, that's what should be done. But that has nothing to do with DEI because you're not hiring according to potential ability or ability. It's about having opportunities for people. And then if they don't perform, they got to move on to something new. And that's where confidence comes in from doing something and being good at it. I played sports and I was okay at some things. I was good at other things. And it would kill me when they would put somebody in and you knew they weren't going to perform because you knew they didn't have it. They didn't have the confidence. They didn't have the ability. And with team sports, that's where you always will lose because you're only as good as your weakest link. And that is life. Confidence comes and goes. And if you don't have confidence, that's where when you get knocked down, you don't get up and you give up. Getting up is a way to start to relearn confidence and then to know that nobody else matters. Nothing else matters. But you also have to have respect for yourself and confidence and respect for self, confidence and respect for others, confidence and respect for your world around you. It is something that is learned and you live it. So confidence is not something that you just have once in a while. It's something that you live with every single day so that you can have honor. You can have respect. It's called ethics. And you can teach it then. Even if you have no children, you can teach it to somebody you meet. Not that you're going to sit down and say, guess what, I'm going to teach you. But they're going to feel it from you because you're going to walk in and you're going to have that look. And you're going to walk in and you're not going to explode at anybody. You're going to have the patience with somebody. Because confidence is, it's almost like as if you got a hose and you're going to spray the entire garden at one time. You're going to take care of everything around you when you have confidence. And motivation, there is no motivation. Motivation is when you feel good. Confidence is with you when life sucks.
What else we got?
I think that'll do it for today's show.
Okay, that'll work.
I think so too. So I'm Dr. Rich signing off.
And I'm Dave.
Until next time, have a good one, folks.